Hi guys, I'm just waiting. It's 4 o'clock just to see who else is going to join in. I know a bunch of you said that you couldn't make it due to scheduling and stuff like that. So that's not a problem at all. Hopefully I can find a way. I should be able, this is being recorded, so I should be able to just post it in the group, I believe. And if I can't, I think I can at least email you guys out a link to the webinar so that you can watch it. And I know Michelle just posted in the group that she was wondering how to join the webinar. So I'm going to give her just a moment or two to see if she can link in before I get started. Hi, Michelle. Hello. I think she's still linking in. Michelle, if you can hear me, you can say something, or you can type in the box. You should be able to see it perhaps on the side. Okay, you have your video off. I can see that part at least.
Yes, my video is off, but I think I turned my audio on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear you. And you can put it on mute if you want. If you have questions or anything like that, you can feel free to ask them, or I'll do at the end. I have a feeling like you might be the only one on the call because a couple people posted in the group that they weren't able to make it. So we're going to get started, and then I will, as I mentioned, send out a link to the webinar so that people can watch it on their own time, and then we can always post questions in the group if that is helpful as well. Okay, so this is the first time I've used Zoom, sorry, I should say, many times, attending different webinars, and also for like just video calls on the computer, but I've never actually hosted them myself. So I played around with it. I think it's gonna work, but just let me know. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, 1 second. I'm going to do one thing first, get my slides going, and then I'm gonna share my screen. Slideshow. Okay. So I am going to share screen and do this one. Okay. Can you see that, Michelle?
I can, yes.
Yay, it's working. Great. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Hopefully the webinar will be, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, somewhere in there. We'll see how fast I talk. Hopefully not too fast. Okay, so for the first webinar that I wanted to do in the Best Year Yet, I wanted it to do on mindset management, because I think mindset is so important to get right. And I think that it plays into pretty much everything we do, and it has a strong link with your health and nutrition, but then also into other elements of your life. And I think that when I started this group, when I had emailed you guys and messaged you and told you about it, part of my thought around it is that, like, I really wanted to help people kind of get their nutrition dialed in and get more active. But then I know from my own experience that when you do that, inevitably you have an increase in confidence. You have this sense of empowerment that improves. You have this often new energy and reduced stress, and maybe you're sleeping better. And when all of those things kind of merge together, I find that then it ripples into their life. And then, you know, if you start thinking about, like, oh, what else is possible, and what else can I take control of, and what else have I been a little you know, passive on that I can make some positive changes on. So that's why I wanted this group to focus first on fitness and nutrition, but then to kind of just get the wheels turning and get you guys thinking, and then just see where that ripples out and plays out in other elements of your life as well. Okay, so mindset management is, next slide. So why mindset matters. It matters because really what is going on in your mind sets your intention for everything. Everything that you do, it's the base of your actions, your words, your behaviors, your habits, your emotions. If we're trying to make a positive change in our life, but we have a negative script running in our mind in the background, the change will be really hard, if not impossible. Because you are trying to do something, but deep inside in your mind, you don't really believe it's possible. And what you believe and what you think on a constant basis behind your head, that's the kind of stuff that goes long term. That's the stuff that, as I mentioned here, your actions and your behaviors and your habits and your emotions, everything is based off of that. And the thing about your mindset is that it is within your own control to change. Inevitably, there are people who are more positive focused and people who are more negative oriented, and that's fine. But there is shifts that we can make to change our thought process and to change that running script so that it has more of a positive angle. And when it does, then that plays out into the other areas of our life. So for me, I kind of think that lots of times people, they want something more out of their life. So they feel like where they're at right now, it might be good, or maybe it's not. Maybe they're frustrated where it's at. But people sometimes feel like they're capable of more and they can achieve more, and they know that they can put in more effort, or they know that they can contribute more. They know that there's more out there for them to give and to receive and to contribute than what is currently happening. And sometimes those changes are bigger than health and fitness, but people feel like they have family commitments, they can't make a change, or financial constraints. You have your mortgage, or maybe you have some debt, and you have all these things that you want to do, but you kind of feel like stuck in your current situation. It's hard to make the jumps into the areas where you want to go. But the awesome thing I find is that improving your health is always within reach without upsetting the status quo. So you can take movements and changes to improve your health, improve your nutrition, improve your fitness, all of that stuff without having to like quit your job or like, do all of, spend some money or whatever sort of changes you need to make. If like you have all of these restrictions in other parts of your life, the health is always a place where you can start. And most people can turn the dial up a little bit and improve their health. Like very few people are in the optimum high level area. So most people can like kick it up a notch. So I think that doing mindset work and thinking about your health and nutrition is awesome. And then, as I said, it will always span into other areas. And the other thing around mindset that I think is that it's really underestimated. I think that people are always looking for external fixes, and they need this, and they need this program or this chart or this regimen or whatever. They need this structure. They're looking for something else that they need to fix, or they need to put themselves into to make the change, when really the biggest change is if they take some time to think about themselves and recondition sort of their mind and how they're looking at things and how their behavior and their actions are. And that's part of this thinking is why I really like the precision nutrition program that you guys are currently going through, because I think a lot of this stuff is around, it's getting you guys to think a little bit deeper about like, why do you have those habits? Why are you making those decisions? And is that the best decision that's serving you, or is there a different thing that you could do, a different choice that you can make that would serve you better? So getting your kind of mind in a positive frame is really important. And I think like the basis, if you were to think of like a big triangle of how you're going to stack things on and make changes in your life to get to where you want to go at the top of the triangle, I think getting your mindset right is the base. It's the very bottom, largest part of the triangle. Okay, so next I wanted to just chat about examples that I have, either from myself or from people I know who have done work within their mindset and how that's played out in their life. As an example, these are just generic ones here, like if you're training for a race. So say you decide, I'm going to do a 5K or a 10K run. Once you've decided in your mind you're going to do that, or maybe you've signed up or you've joined a running group or something like that, things are going to start to shift. You're obviously going to do your training runs. You're going to talk about it to other people. They're going to hold you accountable. You've said in your mind you're going to do the race. So you're going to do the race, barring aside like an injury or something, outside of your control. The same as like saving for a trip or a car or a house. If you have a specific goal in place, let's say you want to go on a trip and you need to save $3,000, you're going to save for it, right? You're going to be aware of your money. You're going to be conscious of where you're spending your money. Maybe you're going to cut back on meals out or cut back on little coffees and extra expenses that you don't need to spend. And you're going to find the money to save up for your trip, or if you're buying a new car or house or whatever the case may be. If you don't have that goal in mind and you haven't set that intention in your mind, then inevitably that money just kind of goes like sand through your fingers and it finds other places to be spent. And, it's like a year later and you haven't saved that money. But if you have set the intention and you decide, no, I'm going to do this, and you have a reason about why you're doing it, then everything starts to make sense and it all starts to go in that same direction. And another piece or thing that I see in terms of personal training is people who hate the gym. So there's a lot of people who hate the gym, and that's fine. Not everyone has to like the gym. I totally get that. There's a lot of ways to be active and you do not need to be in the gym. However, I think that a lot of people say they hate the gym and it sours their whole experience before they even step foot inside. And maybe it's not the gym they hate. Maybe it's their workouts really boring, or maybe they have no idea what they're doing in the gym, or maybe it's the people in the gym that they don't really care about. So then they just say, I just hate the gym. And if you hate the gym and it's this negative thing that you're kind of like, oh, you just don't want to do it. No, you're not going to even get out the door and get to the gym because you've already decided in your head you hate it. You've already decided it's negative. You've already decided, oh, I'm not going to stick to that. I don't really like doing that. And there's just like, you're just setting yourself up for failure pretty much. The other is like labels that we give ourselves. So people who label themselves, maybe in your group of friends, you're like the fat or the chubby friend, or you're the lazy friend, you're the procrastinator or the A-type person, whatever the case may be. But when you set that label, you're reinforcing that behavior because you're believing it deep down in your psyche. So for me, I'm an A-type person. I know I'm an A-type person. And I say it all the time, and I know that reinforces my A-typeness because it makes me think and point out the pieces of my personality which are so painfully A-type, like my need to schedule and highlight everything in my calendar, my need to be prepared and know what's going on. And like if I didn't tell myself I was A-type and everyone knows I'm A-type and I didn't reinforce that so much, I probably could chill out a little bit and realize that there are elements in my life that I'm pretty relaxed on. I'm not so crazy about everything, but I've so tightly drawn my identity to A-type that of course that's how I am. Of course that's how people are going to see me. That's the behaviors I'm going to fulfill because that's the label I've thrown on myself. Another example for mindset is often, many days in the week, I wake up at 5 a.m. because I teach boot camp at 6 a.m. And my husband, he'll often, when I'm brushing my teeth, he'll go set my alarm in the bedroom. And for a while, he'd be like, what time do you have to set your alarm? And I said 5. And he'd go, ugh, that's horrible. And I'm like, after a couple of weeks, I was like, can you stop saying that, please? Because when you say it's horrible, I know it's early. I know it's pitch black out. I know it's raining. I have to go exercise outside. But when you say, oh, God, it's horrible, it just makes me like, it just puts a negative spin on it. And it just doesn't make me, like it makes it negative before I've even gone to bed and before I've even heard the alarm go off in the morning. I'm already thinking it's a negative thing. So instead now when he asks me what time and I say, oh, can you put the alarm at 5? He's like, okay, that's not so bad. In my head, I know it's early. I know it's going to be dark and rainy and cold, all those same things. But all of a sudden, yeah, it's not so bad. That has a totally different spin on it than the, oh God. And that totally changes in my mindset. I don't go to bed with dread being like, oh God, I got to get up so early. It's like, yeah, it's not so bad. You know what? It's 5 a.m. Whatever. I'm going to get up and go exercise. It's fine. So really how you look at things and your perspective and if you can find that kind of positive angle really changes how you think and how you behave and your emotions and your behaviors behind something. Okay, so those are, my last example, how I moved from a part-time gig to self-employment. So this is a good story, which I've told many times, but if you don't know it, I was working at UBC for 7 years. I had my full-time job at UBC, and then I had my part-time personal training business. And I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I just kind of like had my part-time thing. I didn't really have any like set goals around it. I don't really know what my long-term plan was. I every so often would think, oh, I'm going to leave UBC and I'm going to do my personal training full time. But then I would get a promotion. So then I'd stay at UBC. And then I just kind of kept like going back and forth and not really like pursuing it full time because I didn't really know what I was going to do or how I was going to make that jump, or I just wasn't clear on it. And then I went to this conference and I decided, okay, a year from now, 365 days, I'm going to have handed in my resignation letter. I made that clear decision. And I knew when I said it, I told my mom, I told my husband, accountability. I said, I'm going to hand in my resignation letter within a year. And I remember talking to my husband about it. And I didn't know how I was going to make it happen, to be honest, because there was a big jump between what I was making at UBC and what I was making as a personal trainer. But I was so clear that that's what I was going to do. And so we were talking and I was like, man, how are we going to make this work? Like, how the heck am I going to leave my job and have enough money to pay our mortgage and do all this stuff? And we would just talk about it and be like, yeah, I don't, like, neither of us knew. Neither of us had any idea how we were going to make it happen. But the thing is, I was clear on that's what I was going to do. I believed it, like deep down inside, I truly, truly believed that I was going to do it. And I really honestly believe that because of that, I believe in the universe and things happen for a reason. And when you think positively and you believe in something, that things come into our lives for the right moment, at the right moment, for the right reasons. And so 6 weeks after I made that decision, a couple of personal trainers that I know reached out to me. They were moving out of the city and passed off their long-term clients to me. And that was just the bridge that I needed to leave from my job at UBC into self-employment. So I ended up giving my resignation letter, I think it was probably like 4 months later, because I did some part-time work in the transition. But I had set that goal of a year. And so that whole opportunity came so much quicker. But I truly, honestly believe it's because I had it so set in my mind that this is what I was going to do. I was convinced of it. I was positive about it. I didn't know all the steps in between, but I believed it to be true full-heartedly. And then that just set the stage for all the other changes that were coming my way. Okay, so the next one. So how to shift your mindset. I think that sometimes we need a reminder of who we are, where, like how we got to where we are, what we've been through, and so that we can realize that whatever comes your way, you have to believe in your ability to figure it out. Because if we look back at all the things here, I have a little bit of brainstorm homework for you. If you have some time tonight, maybe take 5 minutes, fresh sheet of paper, and write down and just like brainstorm, like as many things as you can, all the things you figured out and learned in the past. And like big and small, like, you know, you figured out, maybe you speak a second language, maybe you're a parent and you figured out how to keep your child alive for the first couple years or however old your kid is. Maybe you've traveled independently to Europe when you were a teenager, or you figured out how to make a cool dish, or how to drive. You know, like there's so many things that we have figured out and learned in our past. And so brainstorm them all, write them all down, big and small, like fill up the sheet with as many things as you can. And then the next thing, which is a little bit deeper, is to review, and this might be in the previous brainstorm as well, but to review some negative situations or experiences you've lived through. So, you know, maybe someone really close to you has passed away. Maybe you've had some relationships that have broken down and haven't turned out the way you wanted. You know, maybe you've had some physical injuries or some health issues you've had to overcome, or, you know, even not that this is negative, but like it can be particularly painful and a memorable experience of like something like childbirth, which is not that I've had a child, but I've heard is excruciating, can be excruciating, but like you made it through that and now you have your children, right? So what are some like really tough situations, just maybe say tough instead of negative, that you've lived through? And then the third thing is to look at those hard times and all of the positive stuff as well, and recognize that all of these experiences have helped you become who you are today. So I think that often we don't give credit to the negative and the tough and the challenging situations in our life to see the silver lining on them. Certainly it's hard to see that in the moment. That's a learned skill and something we'll be working towards. But often I think we don't spend enough time to reflect back on those tough and challenging situations and realize that if those didn't happen, we wouldn't be where we are today. And I mean, life is like that. We all have these situations. We all have things that didn't turn out the way we wanted, or, we wish they went differently, or in that moment we're like, oh, why me? But then when you look back in hindsight, it's like, yeah, if that didn't happen, you would not be exactly where you are right now. Every experience kind of shifts and tilts and points us in the direction that we're supposed to be going, or at least that's what I believe. And so I think that doing this brainstorm and kind of flushing out all those experiences and all the negative and the positive and the challenging and the tough stuff, and then recognizing what you learned or what you got out of that situation is a really important thing to begin to shift your mind and realize and be grateful really for all of those experiences that you've had. So here's a list of different ways that I work to shift my mindset. And I should say that shifting your mindset is, it's like learning new nutrition habits. It's like building a habit of exercise. It takes work. It's not something that you just pick up and you're like, okay, that's it. I'm going to be a positive person. I'm going to find the angle on this and I'm going to go conquer the world and nothing can stop me. No, they're like little shifts that you need to do on a regular basis, because I think for one thing I've really noticed as a personal trainer, and particularly nutrition coaching with people, is that people are really hard on themselves, like shockingly so. People think the lowest of themselves. They speak really negatively to themselves. You never think you're doing good enough. You never think that what you're contributing or the little work that you're putting in is enough. And people are just really hard on themselves. So I think that the script in people's head typically is on the negative side, whereas it takes a lot of work to start to twist that and start to shift it to look into a positive frame. So for me, the things that really work that I do on a regular basis, or try to do on a regular basis, meditation is one. It's something that I'm still trying to work into my daily practice. And I only do 5 to 10 minutes because, to be honest, that's all I can fit in my time. And I know I can find 5 to 10 minutes to sit still. And I have a little app that I use. It's called Calm, CALM. And it tracks your meditation. It's free, gives you a timer. And it's just, I really like that app. So meditation is a good one, just trying to, and not even really for meditation, it's just trying to have no thoughts, which is a super hard challenge, but like no negative, no positive, just quiet. And I usually try and think about one or two things. One, I either think of the ocean's edge, so like the water kind of rolling in and out, or just like trees and the wind blowing in between them. Those are my two kind of like quiet visualizations that I go to in meditation. The next one is visual reminders. I think that things really need to be visual. It's one thing to just be like, okay, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want to do. We need to see it on a regular basis. So in my condo, it's actually kind of comical. I have goals all over. They're written everywhere. Right now, I'm looking at my computer. To the top right, there's a little sticky that has my 5 projects I want to accomplish for the year. And the reason why they're right there is because as I'm typing, or maybe I get sidetracked and all of a sudden I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, whatever I'm doing, and I glance up and it's a reminder. These are the 5 things I want to get done. What the heck am I wasting my time on this for? In my bedroom, I have a vision board. Behind my door where I hang my house coat, there's another thing which has my goals written in more detail. I have reminders in my phone, which I'll talk about in a moment. I literally have visual reminders everywhere because I don't trust myself to remember. And I know that writing it down and having it visually is so effective. So electronic reminders. This one I learned at a conference I went to a couple of years ago, and it's really cool. Well, I'll talk about it at the end because I have some homework for you guys, but essentially I use my alarm in my phone to remind me of things. So let's say you have, you want to, well, even let's say with our nutrition habits, you want to drink more water. So you can put just a reminder in your phone to go off at 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 7 p.m. and you just label the alarm, drink more water, and then you just put it on bus. So it's just going to go off. You know that's your habit. You know I want to drink more water today. It seems silly to put it in your phone to remind you, but honestly, I can't tell you the amount of times that I'm doing something and all of a sudden my phone buzzes and I'm like, oh, right, yes, I wanted to do that. Thank you. And it's just setting up all these parameters around you to keep you focused in the direction that you want to be going. Okay, another thing is education. Read as much as you can, consume. So, maybe it's online, it's not necessarily a physical book, listen to podcasts. If you commute, podcasts are an awesome way to pass the time and get some, fresh positive thinking in your ears while you're driving. Talk to others, stretch your boundaries. Always look to reach a little bit more, learn a little bit more than what you currently know. Affirmations. This one kind of links into meditation. And it is really good too if you're not consistent with meditation or you're new to meditation and you have a hard time kind of turning the brain off. An affirmation or like basically a sentence or two that you're going to say repetitively in your mind helps keep you focused off of other thoughts that are coming through. And if you say a message, an affirmation enough, it will become true. It's like I was saying earlier about how I'm A-type. I keep saying I'm A-type, so I'm A-type. If you keep saying you're a procrastinator and that's all you say is you're a procrastinator, you just do behaviors that reinforce your procrastination. Yeah, you're going to be a procrastinator, right? Like if you keep telling yourself like, oh, I'm just a chubby fat friend, I'm just a chubby, like that's who you're going to be. But if you change your messaging in your mind and you just keep repeating it, even if it feels really forced at first, because especially if it's something that is new to you and something that you feel like doesn't describe you, like let's say your affirmation is, I love my body and I make healthy choices that serve me. Something really simple like that. It's going to feel really weird at first when you keep repeating it because maybe you don't believe it at this time. You just keep repeating it. You just keep repeating it and keep repeating it whenever you meditate. You keep repeating it. And sooner or later, it's just going to become part of that constant chain that's in your mind. And we will become part of who you are. But in the beginning, it is a bit of a struggle because it's not who you believe you are right now due to other negative thoughts that are currently always running in the background. The next one, challenge yourself. Always look for the silver lining, like that example in the past slide about how you can review and brainstorm and look back at everything in your life and then look at those experiences. And actually, if you've never done this, it'd be really powerful exercise to just jot down beside particularly the really challenging or traumatic or upsetting experiences to write down what is it that you got out of that experience, because 100% there's something positive that came out of it. I guarantee you 100% there's something. And then the last one is practice. Shifting your mindset, like I said, it's a new habit. It needs practice. You need to, which is why all of these things help, because the more you can integrate it into your life, then the better you can get at it. The more you can practice, the better you become at something. Gratitude journals, daily reminders, taking deep breaths, all of these things, as much as you can do throughout your day, throughout your week and your month and consistently, you'll slowly start to shift it. And that's when like really amazing stuff comes, when you can turn your mind more to the positive and take control over your thoughts and not let yourself fall into kind of like a negative spiral of emotion and self-pity and all that kind of stuff that comes along with it. Okay, so the next, I just really like this quote and I wanted to include it in here. There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. I think that change is really hard, and it takes consistent practice to shift habits. And I think that if you're not pushing your limits and pushing yourself a little bit and getting outside of what feels comfortable to you, then you won't be living in that passionate zone that really at the end of the day we all kind of want. We all want to feel like we're contributing. We want to feel like we're making a difference. We want to feel like that we're here for a reason and we're fulfilling that. And for each person, it's something totally different, right? Like for someone, it might just be being the best damn mom you can be. And for someone else, it might be, going out and changing something else in the world. I don't know, like the opportunities, the options are limitless, but we all want to feel that we are doing the best that we can, because like we only got one life, right? So there's no second time around. This is it. And so I think that, putting in the work and pushing yourself to try things that aren't necessarily comfortable or second nature or knee-jerk reaction, all of that stuff, that takes time, it takes practice, and it's not going to be perfect right off the bat. But the important thing is that we're trying. At the end of the day, right? You're trying to make a shift every day. You're trying to do a little bit better than you did yesterday. And all those little shifts and all those efforts are going to add up in the long term. Okay. So now we're going on to the good stuff. So I have 3 options for mindset homework. So there's 3 things here in the next 3 slides, excuse me, I'll describe in detail. And there's 3 options because not everything is going to resonate with everyone, right? Like some things I are like, oh, that sounds cool to me, and for other people, they're like, no deal. So I'm going to go through them all, and if one of them you're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, give that a try. By all means, you can try all 3 if you want. I just wanted to give some options for people. Okay, so option A, you're going to take 5 minutes and you're going to brainstorm some words that describe you at your best self. And these can either be like in your best self, or how you kind of visualize your best self to be. So maybe like you are not a very patient person, but you think that if you were at your best, you would be patient. So even though you aren't currently, that's what you kind of strive to be. That can be part of the brainstorm. And if you have a really hard time coming up with words that describe yourself in a positive light, a good thing to do is ask some people around you. Ask your friends, ask your family. I've done this before for like goal setting stuff, to ask people my best traits, because it is hard sometimes to see what's so good about us, but other people can see it really clearly. Okay, so you take 5 minutes, you brainstorm all the best words that describe you at your best self. Then you look back at that list and you choose 2 or 3 words that really resonate with you. And those are going to be your words. So for me, my words I'll share with you guys are positivity, fearless, and I have one more, and it's in my phone. I'm going to look it up right now so I can tell you. And so when you have your 3 words, then you're going to make it visual. And fearless, positive, and inspirational. Those are my words. So I think that when I am at my best and I'm contributing, those are the words that describe me, and those are things that I aspire to be. So then to make it visible, you're going to write those words and put them wherever it's going to make sense for you. So I have them in my passion planner in my journal, because I'm in my passion planner every day. And I mentioned the alarms in your phone. So what I have in my phone in the morning, 7 a.m., at noon, and then 7 p.m., I have alarms that go off just with the buzzer. So it doesn't it's not a loud noise. It's not like bugging people or interrupting if I'm training a client. It's just a little buzzer. And those words are part of the alarm name. And the thing is, like, I know these words. I know how I want to be. I know the behaviors I want to exude and how I want to show up. But having that visual reminder is so key, because I can't tell you how many times I'm doing something like, I don't know, I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, and I'm frustrated because the person in front of me is taking forever to go through their change purse. And I'm like, oh my God, I just need to get going. And all of a sudden my phone will go off and it'll say positivity. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not being very positive right now. Like, I'm getting irritated. I'm getting annoyed. And it's silly. I'm in line at the grocery store. Like, I shouldn't let this bother me, right? And just that little like buzz on my phone is enough for me to be like, be positive. Maybe I can chat with the person beside me. Maybe I can just take this moment to realize I need to work on my patience. And it's just that little like jab to keep me thinking in the frame that I want to, and to keep that positive perspective in my mind. So I really like this one. That's option A. Option B is kind of a self-reflection piece. And this is, I suggest that you do this daily. So in the morning, and I think this is a good thing to do in the shower, because usually people have at least, a couple minutes of quiet time in the shower. You're shampooing your hair. Think about the day ahead and think about 3 things that you're going to be excited for that day. And, they could be like really simple things like, I'm really excited for my lunch because I prepped it last night and it's really delicious. Or, I have a really cool meeting that I'm really excited for, a new project I'm going to be doing today. Or, I don't know, whatever it could be. I'm going to go for a walk on my lunch break, or I'm just really excited to walk my kids to school. Whatever. 3 things you're going to be excited for in that day. And then 1 to 2 things that maybe you need to prepare for. So 1 to 2 things that might like trip you up, that might frustrate you, that might give you a little bit of a negative perspective. So like, I might get frustrated when my kids don't want to eat their veggies or their food at dinner and I prepared it all day. Or I might get frustrated when I'm in line at the grocery store and the person in front of me is taking too long finding their change. I don't know. Probably there may be some bigger things than that. But the point is that you're thinking ahead for them, and then you're kind of trying to find some solution or preparation in your head of like how you're going to deal with that in your best self, right? So if you're going to show up and be the best person and the best perspective that you can have, how would you approach that? And just taking that moment to think about it ahead of time is so effective, because proactive is always better than reactive. And then in the evening, 3 things to be grateful for. If you have a journal, it's awesome if you can like write them down. It doesn't have to be long. Like it could just be point form. It could be a sentence each, or it could be longer if you like. Or if you have a partner, you could just verbalize with them. You could say it with your kids over dinner at the table, or you could just say it in your head. It doesn't. This one is like it. You can write it down. I think it's way more effective if you write it down. But the point is that you're taking a few moments in the evening to reflect on the day and think of 3 things that you're grateful for. Because there's always at least 3 things that we can be grateful for each day. And the option for the third one, this one it seems easier, but I think it's harder because you don't have like the physical reminders all the time, unless you put a reminder in your phone, is to find the silver lining. And I really like this one, but it's to find the positivity in each situation. So every situation, particularly those that are frustrating and difficult and irritating, is to find what are you supposed to learn in this moment? Because I believe that every situation, every moment is there for a reason. It's there to point us in a direction. We're there to gather some information from that experience. And we might not realize it in that moment, but that information, that experience is going to serve us for something else in our life, for sure. So in every situation, find the silver lining. How can you grow, and what can you get out of that experience? As an example, I hate being stuck in traffic. Like because I'm A-type, I would rather drive further and be moving than just to be stuck in traffic. And because I'm always driving at like 5 a.m. or 8 p.m., I'm very rarely in rush hour. So when I'm stuck in traffic, it drives me nuts. And so what I started doing is realizing that this is an opportunity for me to practice my patience, because I really do need to work on that. And what I started doing is having dance parties in my car. So if I'm stuck in traffic, I'm finding the best, most singable tune on the radio and dancing along with it, because one of 2 things. One, it's fun and it like makes me forget my frustration. If somebody beside me sees, they're probably laughing at me, which is fine, whatever, they can laugh. But it also helps me build and practice on not caring what other people think around me, because I think we've placed too much weight on that in society. So, it's kind of like doing all of these things, and I'm sitting there anyway, so why not find this fun song to listen to? So find the silver lining in whatever experience you're in. Smile, because you've realized what you've learned from it, what you've gotten out of it. Even though it can inherently be what you think is a really negative thing, you can smile in the moment to be like, hey, this was really crappy, but this is what I learned from it, or this is how it's forcing me to grow. And then take a deep breath and move on, because really at the end of the day, that's all we can do, right? We can't control anyone else's, we can't control what they're going to say, what they're going to think, what they're going to do. All we can control in life is our own thoughts, actions, and emotions. So if that is all we truly can control, why not spend that time trying to make yours as positive as possible, and trying to find the lesson or the experience or the takeaway in each situation? Because then like, I don't know, it sounds kind of cheesy, but then you're winning, right? You got out of it what you needed to get out of it. And it is kind of freeing to just be like, okay, well, I can't control what you're going to do, but I sure as heck can control what I'm going to do, and I'm choosing this. So I think that is the last slide. Oh, this is my last quote, which I love, is the last of human freedoms is the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, the ability to choose one's own way. And that just kind of sums up what I meant in that last comment about how it's your choice in how you react to a situation. And that really, as it says, this is the last human freedom. So I love that quote. It's just a nice one. So I think if anyone, I think it's just Michelle on the call. I think everyone else is going to watch this in recording. But if you have any questions, Michelle, I'm happy to answer them. And if you are watching this in a recording and you have a question, you can always message me or post it in the Facebook group, because then others can see it and then we can comment on it as well.
Yes, I do have a question.
Oh, cool.
You had mentioned something about a passion journal. What is that? Let
me tell you, I'm very passionate about my passion planner. 1 second.
Okay.
I just had to grab it. So this is like a day planner. Can you see it on the video?
Yep.
So it's a day planner I've gotten for the last 2 or 3 years, and I personally really like it because I just like writing down all my to-dos, and it is really good because in the beginning of the year and in mid-year, it has opportunities for you to kind of brainstorm what it is you want to achieve in life, and then break down those goals into manageable steps so that you write them into the journal, and it just helps keep me really organized. So I'll show you, this this looks like organized chaos, but this is my weekly schedule.
Can you make your screen bigger?
Oh, yes, of course I can. 1 second. New share, 1 second. I wonder if I do this. Nope. Sorry, 1 second.
That's okay.
Is it? No, that didn't work, okay?
No.
How do I? Okay. Oh,
there we go.
There we go. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I go through every Sunday, I spend time and I schedule in like all my clients. That's all the pink that you can see. And I color code everything. So I have my workouts in there. I have, fun things I have planned for the week. And it's just a good way for me to visualize and see everything in here. And it really keeps me on track because I've written down everything I want to do. And I just really like the Passion Planner. I like this company and this brand. It's a girl in California. She's really young. She's like 25 or 26 who started this company. So there's lots of journals and stuff like that out there, but this one I personally really like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I probably will do some of the brainstorming and like passion planning exercises that I utilize in here. I think I will do them in the next workshop at the end of February as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Was that useful for you or helpful?
Yeah, that was good. The homework, are you going to post each of the options in the group? So
yeah. That's a great question. I'll take those 3 slides that were the homework and I'll put them on one PDF and post that in the group.
Okay,
so everyone can see it. And then I think that I'll double check this recording. I'm pretty sure I have to email it out. I'm not sure I can put it right on Facebook, but I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for making time for this today.
Good. No, it was worth it.
Awesome. And anyone else, if you're listening, feel free to shoot me a question or post it in the group. And yeah, I guess that's it.
Good. Thank you so much.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.